Hey everybody, I am super excited to take you through this session on prayer. Now, prayer has been such a powerful part of my life, and it was something I dabbled into and then I kind of let go of, and then I found it again and I just remembered how powerful it was. And there is a structure to prayer, right? There is a way to pray for it to be the most effective. And at first, when I started praying at the beginning of my journey, it was more of an exploration of like what happens when you ask God or the universe for something, right? But I didn't actually know any structure, right? I was just connecting to what I intuitively felt like asking. And what I found is that I would receive some messages occasionally, but I wouldn't really get my prayers answered. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why until I understood that there is actually a structure to this divine order, to this divine prayer, right? So I'm going to teach you a structure today that is used in many different traditions, from Christianity to Buddhism to Judaism to many different nationalities and traditions. And it is a very powerful technique. And some of you may know it, and some of you may not know it. Now, you don't have to be religious to pray, right? This is one of the myths out there, that you must be religious to pray, because we connect praying to being religious, right? But actually, prayer is when you are in communication with God, with the universe, with the divine, with however you wish to call God for you. This divine energy, right? When we are praying, we are in communion, we are connecting, we are communicating. And they say when we meditate, we are listening to God. So in prayer, we're talking to God. And it is such a beautiful experience when you actually start to connect with it on an ongoing basis. So it's split into 4 steps, and the acronym is the word pray. The P stands for praise. So the first thing we want to do with the P for praise is we want to give thanks to God. We want to give thanks to the universe, to this divine energy. We want to thank it and really understand how powerful it's been in our lives, right? And how powerful it is as an energy. And so we want to give gratitude. We want to praise this energy. This is the first step. So the way I like to do that is I close my eyes. Again, just to clarify this, for prayer, you do not need candles and flowers and a meditation cushion. You don't need any of that. You can pray anywhere you want. You could be in your room, in the park, on the tube, in a super drugstore. It doesn't matter where you are. You can pray anywhere. But if you want all of those things, it's beautiful and it can enhance the experience a little bit. So the P is for praise. Now, the way I like to do it is I go into a space where I know I won't be disturbed in the morning and before bed. And I like to just settle and connect to my body. I might do a bit of breathwork and meditation, and I usually end my practice with prayer, but you don't need to do this. You could start it with prayer, or you could just pray, and that could be your practice. And so the praise is where I really give thanks. Thank you so much, God, for being the good, the holy, the beautiful, for being with me on this journey, for answering my prayers, for giving me all of the challenges so that I can grow, for helping me understand more of who I am, for helping us understand polarity and duality, giving us the bad so we can experience the good, so we can truly understand what it means. So it's really diving deep into the gratitude, the praise. Then the R. The R is for repent. So this is where you are essentially asking for forgiveness. Forgiveness for anything you may have done to hurt anyone or harm anyone, knowingly or unknowingly. And you might connect to some people that maybe you've hurt recently, or you might connect to some arguments you've had, or maybe things you've done in the past, or arguments you've had, or people you may have hurt in the past. And this is where we really connect to that, just asking for that forgiveness, really laying it all out on the table, coming clean with who we really are. And this is important because we often find in arguments that we are afraid to, in the moment especially, it's difficult for us to come to our wisdom points, right? It's difficult for us to say, I'm wrong in the moment, because the ego just needs to be right. But we would rather have peace, right, over being right. The problem is that whilst we're training to get better and better at being more peaceful in the moment of an argument, and to actually come forth and say, you know what, I'm wrong, or you know what, I shouldn't have said that immediately, and not wait a whole day or a whole 4 hours to say that to the other person. Whilst we're practicing and we're training this, we want to be conscious of where we may have not been so fast to apologize in the past. And this is what we're essentially repenting for. So here we ask for forgiveness. For me, it looks a little something like this. I close my eyes and I say, I want to ask you for forgiveness for anything I may have done to cause harm or pain to anybody else, knowingly or unknowingly. If I've ever acted out of ego without realizing or with realizing, whatever it might be, to have caused pain or harm to anybody else. Please forgive me. And you can look at this exercise as, I've never been religious. I grew up in a Jewish household and I never really connected to religion. I thought some elements of it was really pretty and nice and cozy and warm. I like the family aspect of religion generally, but I never really connected to religion. It wasn't my thing. I've studied a lot of Christ consciousness work, Buddhism, elements of Judaism, interestingly, elements of the Quran through an Israeli friend of mine, which is really interesting. And I find that there's such beauty and to be honest, at the depth of it all, it's so similar. So when I'm praying, I'm not praying to a specific God, I'm praying to an energy. And sometimes I feel a more masculine energy, sometimes I feel a more feminine energy. It kind of morphs, interestingly for me. So I just want you to know, if you're not religious like me, then just allow this energy to guide you as it wants. And if you are religious and you have a specific God you pray to, beautiful, go for it. So the next letter is A, and this is where you ask. This is where you ask now for what it is you want to receive, what it is you want help with. This is the moment where you ask. So we close our eyes and we ask. So really go into asking, lay it all out. Lay out how you're feeling, what's going on, and just ask for what it is you want. And then the Y stands for yes, and this is complete surrender. So manifestation occurs like this. We want to set our intention, take action, and then we surrender. It's the same with prayer, right? We do the work, we ask, and then we surrender. If we are constantly keeping that pressure on, we cannot manifest. God cannot do his or her work, right? We need to surrender, and that is the biggest part that many people leave out, is the surrender part. Trusting in the universe, trusting that it will happen and it will be done. Thine will be done, yeah? So the other way to pray, so that is the first technique, P-R-A-Y, pray, right? We praise, we repent, we ask, and we surrender. Then the other simple way to pray, because you might not always have something to ask, is to literally just come into communion with God. So the way I like to do this is I sit with my eyes closed and I really deeply connect into my body, into my heart. I might do some breath work before if I'm feeling quite distracted or in my mind, get myself into the body. And then I have a communion, we have a discussion. And this is where your intuition comes online a lot. And you really listen, you need to listen in. Just in the way that we listen to the outside world, we're now going to listen inwards. So here, you're literally having a conversation. It might look like this. Hi, God, how are you? I wanted to just say how grateful I am to be here with you once again. I'm feeling really upset or anxious about this thing that's happened in my life, and I don't really know what to do. Can you provide me with some guidance? You might just go in like that and close your eyes and listen for the answer. Now, the answer can come in, you might hear a voice that sounds like your own giving you an answer. Take it. Whatever comes first, take it. Take that information. So if your voice comes in and is like telling you what to do, but you're like, wait a second, that sounds like me in here somewhere. Just listen, because it can come in many different ways. It can come in terms of visions. You can hear it. It depends if you're more clairvoyant, clairaudient, and you can sometimes feel the answer as well. So just pay attention. If you don't know which one you are out of those or which one is your strongest, then just pay attention to how the message comes, right? Don't question it either. If you get a message and you're like, was that my imagination? Was that real? Don't question it. Just be fully open, surrender fully to the moment, and allow what comes forth to come forth, whether it's in the form of your voice, in the form of another voice, in the form of visions, in the form of feelings. Just notice what comes. And the more you start to commune in that way, the stronger that gets and the less you start to question it, because you start to take action on what it tells you and you see that it's always right. Very, very, very powerful technique. So these are your two ways to pray. I hope you've enjoyed this. Get to work. get to work, my recommendation is to bring this in at least once a day, especially at the beginning. Bring it in once a day and start to connect in this way. Prayer is such a powerful tool for us to connect deeper to the cosmos, to the universe, to what's beyond ourselves. And in this course, in this work we're doing, in this program, we're focusing so much around ourselves. So how can we start to connect deeper to the divine? This is the way. So enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next video.